But to start us off, we're having a conversation on community well-being, access, and resilience. Please welcome LA Galaxy forward Christian Ramírez and Dr. Ariana Hoet. Welcome.
You want to sit here?
Go ahead. This is very exciting. Okay, so you're both on stage together here because of your connection through the Kids Mental Health Foundation, on which you serve Dr. Hoet as the Executive Clinical Director and which you've partnered with, Christian. So I wanted to start with you, Christian. Curious, how did you get involved in this organization and why this specific cause?
I started to deal with some mental health stuff myself, and then being a young father to 3 kids, I wanted to gain the knowledge and the tools to help guide them when these situations arise. And I've started to see that, and I also saw how big of an audience we could reach with it. So it was something that gradually happened. Got an opportunity to work together in Columbus on a project, and it just opened the doors for me.
That's great. Did you grow up having open conversations about mental health in your family?
Not really, because I saw my parents both migrated here from Colombia, and my dad worked his butt off through the night to let me and my siblings play sports. So I felt it was an obligation to just be a strong individual, and didn't really know how to deal with certain things. And at some point in my life, I started dealing with them. And yeah, I'm thankful that I was able to gain those tools and hopefully continue to pass them down.
And you mentioned your kids, you have 3 small children. How do you approach it now with them? What is sort of your approach to the whole concept?
Just to try and figure out ways to let them balance what their emotions are controlling them inside a little bit. Trying to let them understand their feelings, and it's all right to feel certain ways, and then helping them. We just had a situation this weekend with my daughter, started crying in the middle of a game, and I didn't approach her after the game. I let her come to me, and it took a day, but she finally said, "Hey, Dad, I was crying because I was mad that we were losing." And I was like, well, okay. And so I just tried to dissect those feelings and try and help her, guide her a little bit in where she could go to, how she can get out of that little funk. And I mean, it took her a day. Sometimes she's said something right away. And yeah, so just letting her slowly come to me instead of immediately bombarding her with questions. And being upset that she got off the field or something like that, just understanding that she's 7 years old, and the quicker and she understands how to deal with these things, the better she will be in the long term, but also not trying to rush her.
Yeah, that's great. And it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, for sure.
I have a 7-year-old daughter as well, so very much relate. Dr. Hoet, you are an immigrant from Venezuela. And you've spoken before about the second time that you moved to the United States when you were a teenager and you suffered from depression. Can you talk about the tools that your parents gave you and sort of what got you through that?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I can talk about it now as a psychologist. I can look back and think, oh, this is what they did that worked. But my parents, they were just winging it. They didn't know what they were doing, right, as most parents are. At the time, it was really hard. I had lived in the US when I was in elementary school. We went back to Venezuela. I came back in high school. And so I already spoke English. I wasn't placed in the class with the other immigrant kids. So to them, I was too gringa. I didn't belong with them. But to the kids in the US, I was an immigrant. I didn't belong with them either. And so that marginalization immediately caused that depression. And again, I can use those terms now because as a psychologist, I'm like, oh, that's what happened. What my parents did is they sat me down and they're like, hey, you either go to therapy or you have to join an after-school activity. And I was like, no, not therapy. Absolutely not. And so I joined theater. And that is the moment that, one, it got me out of my basement, out of my computer where I was constantly connected to my friends back in Venezuela. But two, it helped me build belonging with the school, with new friends, new people. And again, that is what science shows us is the most protective factor for kids and their mental health, is feeling connected. The moment that I felt like I was a part of the school environment, the moment I felt like I had a group of friends, that helped me get through. But also a huge piece was our Latino values, the family connectedness, my parents constantly being there, checking in, giving me the space, but just normalizing that it's okay, we're here for you. And even my family back in Venezuela knew what was going on and checked in, would visit if they could or call if they could. And so it was those values that we know are so important that helped me get through that.
What do you think your experience would be like if you had to move here now at that same age?
That's an interesting question because back then, there was no WhatsApp, there was no technology. I mean, if I wanted to call family, I had to do the phone cards, you know, like you scratch and then you call and it's like, you have 5 minutes. It's like, blah! Oh, really? It's amazing. Yeah, so I think in so many ways we are more connected to back home. In so many ways, there is more awareness in the benefit of belonging and community. But then also right now, being an immigrant is tough. And so I don't know how to answer that. I'm not sure what the environment is. I know working with immigrant kids in therapy, there's a lot of racism, there's a lot of bullying, there's a lot of stress, especially for the mixed documentation families. Obviously my family had a different experience and more privilege, but it is hard right now for a lot of the immigrant kids I work with.
Yeah. Well, you kind of answered my next question, but I do want to hear a little bit more about, you know, as a pediatric psychologist, what you're seeing among immigrant children or kids who have immigrant families, like, and how it compares to, you know, the year before or 2 years ago.
Yeah. There's a lot of fear. Honestly, a lot of kids have stopped coming to treatment. It's kids need to feel accepted. And so when a whole community is being targeted and made to feel less than, that's going to affect their mental health. And also there's so many other things, you know, in therapy, there's often the kids, like I mentioned, that feel like I don't belong here or there. There's a lot of what we call the acculturation gap, where the parents are having a harder time acculturating to the US, and then the kids immediately pick up the language, the culture, and so then there's a lot of arguments. It's something I experience myself. And so I would say in therapy, that's what I see the most, is helping the parent and the child have a healthy relationship because there is so much disagreement in how they want to live their lives.
That's really interesting. So knowing what we know about the sort of unfortunate existing stigma that exists in a lot of Latino families regarding mental health, you know, I still hear from relatives like therapies for, I won't even say it, but what are important ways that we can shift those attitudes? And I'd love to hear from both of you on that.
For me, it's the Latino values that we have within our family. It's being there for each other, loving each other, and celebrating each other. And I think if we piggyback off of those things, it starts to be accepting, to seek help, and to be there when we're needed.
Yeah, one of the things we do at the Kids Mental Health Foundation is we really want people to understand that mental health is just like physical health. Every child has emotions, every child has thoughts and feelings. In our communities, we tend to think like, oh, that's el vecino, right? That's the neighbor's problem. That doesn't happen in my family, my kid. No, we all have mental health, and so we want to think about it. We're teaching our kids to eat their veggies, move their bodies, get enough sleep for their physical health. There are things we can be teaching them every day for their mental health. And so that's how we're approaching breaking stigmas. It's normalizing it. It's that, no, we all have it. We all need to be teaching kids how to take care of their mental health in the same way. And that's why I love partnerships like we do with Christian, because kids don't want to hear from the psychologist. They want to hear from their hero, right? When he's normalizing mental health. It's like, yeah, I mean, we met a few kids today. We talked to a kid who's a senior in high school, and he's like, I've had parents tell me to do this specific tool, but then I saw this person I follow on TikTok, and I did it because I heard it from them. And he had insight. He's like, yeah, I only did it because I saw it there, even though my parent may have told me for weeks to try it. So,
can't wait for those teenage years. Dr. Hoet, how is the era of AI affecting mental health? Is it providing more tools? Is it causing more concern? How do you see the role of AI in this?
Yeah, I mean, the internet as a whole, it's great if used well. It can connect us, it can give us more information. However, our kids' brains are not developed enough to figure out what is misinformation versus real information. They're not developed enough to set boundaries. They can't, I mean, adults can't get ourselves off of our phones, let alone a child. And so AI is just a new thing that we still don't have enough research on when it comes to how is it impacting kids' mental health. But we know enough to know that if a child is going to AI to get mental health advice, it's not a mental health professional, right? And we've already seen enough cases where a child may end up in harm because of what AI is feeding them. So parents have to monitor. If you're giving access to technology, don't just hand it over and walk away. Your child's brain is not ready for it. So monitor, set boundaries, teach them healthy ways to use it.
Yeah. And besides that, what are other tools that parents can have? Because I mean, I think I'm a parent and it's so hard. Sometimes you're just like, I just need to do the dishes. Like, here's a tablet, like, leave me alone. I love my kids, I really do. But any other tools or advice that you have for our audience?
Technology?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is that it is helpful. It is. When my child is sick, I'm turning on a movie. When I have something to do, I'm turning the TV on the screen. So it's not about no. It's about teaching them how to use it in a healthy way. It's the same way when your child is ready to drive, you're not just going to hand them keys, right? You're going to make sure that they learn what are the safe ways to be behind the wheel. It's the same thing with technology. It's literacy of what are the harms, what are the things I can and can't post. We have a family social media plan on our website that has you kind of sit down with your child and say, what are the apps you can use? When can you be on your phone and not? What are the things you can post? Who can you follow? And so it's just being really purposeful with those tools.
Well, we're out of time, unfortunately, but before we go, I do want to have you teach us just one calming exercise that you've taught your kids or that you teach your kids. If you can quickly teach us, because I think there's a lot of parents in this room who probably use it.
So I'm sure everyone's kind of tired of hearing like deep breaths, right? Every time you're stressed, take a deep breath. But hey, they work. We were taking some backstage before coming on. But you know, kids are also tired of hearing it. So in therapy, one of my favorite ways to teach kids how to take deep breaths is pizza breathing. You know, you pretend you have a pizza in your hand, you really want to eat it, and it smells so good, so we take a deep breath in, and we smell the pizza, but it's really hot, we can't eat it yet, so we blow on it. So we teach it all the time.
So good.
It's trickery.
So
I'm telling you. But here's the thing.
Fantastic. Christian, Dr. Hoet, thank you so much for this conversation and for the work you do every day to build awareness around mental health.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys.